Yes, I animated this deck because I really like it. Big Dragon is a bit controversial because of the RNG nature of Relic Dragon, being able to pull a card from your deck, making it 0 cost, and you know, if you run a lot of 7 cost cards or higher, this really ends up deciding the games for you. But what if you run a version that's an OTK version that only pulls the stuff you want, meaning Lowly Dragon, Taras, perhaps another Relic Dragon himself, and that is what this deck is all about. Actually, the first version of Big Dragon that I played was an OTK version, but we have since refined it, polished it, and by we, I mean Japanese people on Twitter. So thank you, Sugoku Puripuri Shitai. I'm sorry. But yes, this deck, that's exactly that. You ramp with Irma, Oracle, Shrine, Waterworm's Blessing, and then you draw into your OTK. You even have the one of Gone Fishing, which can transmute into Bin Fishing to make sure you have the OTK in hand once you're in Overflow. And then Infernal Meteor also pulls 7 cost followers for the same reason. You play Celestial Worm God. Now your Relic Dragon only pulls good targets and you can take your opponent down. So let's get into the games, but first make sure to like the video and subscribe. It really does help out. So the first game here is actually against Golemboost Runecraft. I made a guide on this deck recently, so if you want to take a look at how to play my opponent's deck here, make sure to peep that on the channel just a day or so ago. Well, as of recording, I guess. By the time this is released, it might have been a week already. I'm currently building up a backlog because I'm flying to Japan soon. Anyway, turn 2 Dragon Oracle, always a good sign. And we do have Relic Hunter here for another draw as well. I do end up gambling a little bit here. I could have played the Twins, but instead I played Relic Hunter, hoping to get another 2-drop, and I whiffed. So here I'm regretting not playing Twins, because if I played Twins here instead, on the next turn I could have played Twins plus Relic Hunter, or just Relic Hunter for the body to deal with the board. The whiff here does hurt my soul a little bit, and I'm kind of regretting it, but that's okay. We go next, all right? Twins gets played here, and I do end up drawing Oracle, thank goodness, which means now I'm in Overflow already, which is very nice. And I do think that I'm probably going to have to transmute this Goddess to keep myself alive against this deck, because they deal massive amounts of damage with Golem Lord. And I'll tell you right now, spoiler alert, this game was close. Like, I could have lost if their draws were slightly different, all right? So let's go ahead and get rid of this Infernal Meteor. And the reason why I felt okay getting rid of the Infernal Meteor now is because I drew the Worm God, which means that I'm able to thin my deck later for Relic Dragon anyway, so it's fine. And yeah, like I said, I'm going to try and keep myself as healthy as possible, going back to 20 defense here. They play Golem Lord, and you know, this turn I would have liked to ramp to 10 with Irma, but if I did that, I would have no way of destroying this Golem Lord, and it would be a huge problem, so I have to play the Worm God here to take it out and just try my hardest to not die. Unfortunately, without Vanish or Transform, getting rid of that Golem Lord this way does mean that they are probably going to be able to resurrect it with Air, and if they do have that Air in hand, I'm in trouble. Now, if they actually played Golem Lord here instead of saving it for the back, I would have been in trouble a little bit more. But this play kind of signals to me that they probably don't have Air because they are being conservative with their Golem Lord instead of just slamming it down. You know, that means they don't have a third one in the back. So, with that in mind, I'm like, alright, good to know. Let's go ahead and play Irma. And I do make a mistake here where I use the Relic Dragon to toss Shiori. But the odds of me drawing Shiori back are so low, I thought there's no way. But I was, you know, tempting fate there a little bit. And we do get another Celestial Worm God, which is a huge deal, because now that we're at 10 play points, Celestial Worm God can reduce the cost of our hand. The Golem Lord comes out finally, the one that they were holding back. And they do end up boosting their stack a little bit as well. And there's the third Golem Lord, which I assume they must have just gotten. That's just an assumption on my part, but yeah, there you have it. And if that isn't correct, and they ended up accelerating 2 Golem Lords in the previous turn, and I didn't notice, then, my bad. I am kind of talking through this game kind of fast here. Irma Dragon Friend come out, which is nice to clear this board. Okay, and now here, I'm actually stressed out, because I know that they have third Golem Lord in hand. I know that they have Celestial Convergence in hand, and their Golem Lord count is currently at 10. So if they Convergence, Golem Lord Air, I am kind of screwed, but I do not think they have Air given the way that they've been playing this game so far. It's still kind of a a gamble though. Not a gamble, but like a consideration. Like I'm scared of it. When they did this play though, I'm like, I'm safe. They did have air, but it wasn't boosted, so they must have just gotten it. They play Levi. Some decks do tech Levi. I'm not a huge fan of it, but some decks do. And this is not enough to kill me here. In fact, they have to use the sorcery to take out my 4-1 because they're afraid of me going face. But unfortunately for them, I have double Tarask in hand. That's 14 damage, baby. Ba-bam! And ba-bam. Although, I will say, like I said, this one was close. If they had their air slightly earlier, would have been a whole different story. My next game here is up against another Dragoncraft player, and I am almost positive it's buff because most Dragoncraft players on ladder are playing buff right now. So I'm not too stressed out. And going second, I end up keeping this full hand because I think Asuka Shiri going second is incredibly strong, especially since this is a combo OTK deck, so I want as much draw as possible. They play Gunbane on 1, which means that they're already boosted 1. That is a bit stressful. If they boost 2 into Grand Slam, I am kind of screwed. That is a little stressful. No worries though. We do have Dragon Shrine, and I end up going for Stampede. If I had to choose differently, looking back at this game, I probably would have gone for Gust, knowing what their play was this turn, which was Lucky Mermaid plus Striker, just to aggress me, basically. And it's a smart play. Against Big Dragon, if you aggress them as much as possible, you can win. But in this case, I end up prefusing the Goddess to use my provisions to draw through my deck, because I know that my turn 4 is definitely gonna be Asuka Shiri Goddess to deal with this board. They end up Josephing. And now I'm like, okay, this is not that bad. I actually can deal with this, alright? And they play the Drazile for draw as well. Because their hand is kind of lame right now. But it's all good. I draw Oracle, but I am not shaken. I just play the Goddess. Next turn I ramp with Shrine into 6 play points, but 7 max. So which means that I can use the Oracle for draw anyway. On that turn, alongside like an Irma and a Provisions or something like that, if I need to. They go for Militant Mermaid, and at this point I'm just like, thank you for not having Grand Slam Tamer. But if they did have Grand Slam Tamer, I would have been able to use Goddess Transmuted to get rid of it, so it's still not too bad. They are playing the Evolve variant with the Blooming Dancer, which I approve of. I do think that is the better variant, me personally anyway. That's the one I prefer to play. But yes, I ramp here into 7 max, 6 effective. Go ahead and play Irma to ramp into 8. And then if I play Oracle, I ramp into 10. For the next turn, I mean. And now I'm just trying to dig for Goddess, right? So I use Lowly Dragon and she doesn't show up. That's, ooh. And there's the Grand Slam Tamer. Ooh. But the good news is, with Infernal Meteor, I should be able to guarantee, or not guarantee, but almost definitely get her. So I'm not too unhappy about it. I end up fusing the Goddess first, though, because I didn't think that this was really worthy of an Infernal turn, and I wanted to keep myself healthy, just in case they ended up having, like, Striker Joe, or something like that. The Kyrie does come out. I don't personally include Kyrie in my list. I think there's better evolve targets, but you know, you do you. You know, it's personal preference. And now with a board like this, which is quite wide, I'm like, Infernal Meteor is going to save me. It's actually going to save my butt. All right, so let's get into it. I don't really know why they spent that. I guess it wasn't active yet, but like if it was active, definitely don't spend it there. There's the Worm God. And OTK is now in the progress, especially with double Relic Dragon in hand. I can do Relic Dragon, Irma, Fuse, and then whatever I get off the top, which should be more than enough. And in the end, they play a big Gunbane. And I'm thinking 4+7 from Irma is guaranteed to clear Gunbane 1. And then whatever I draw off of the Relic Dragon should clear Gunbane 2, and it does. So I know for a fact now that I have lethal, toss my Tarask, fuse Irma, trade both into Gunbane, Lowly Dragon. That's 14, 18, 24 damage. So, GG, OTK exactly as prescribed. You know, they named him Lowly Dragon, but he is really like a star player in this deck. They should have called him like freaking Godly Dragon or something. That name is just sandbagging. Lethal.